stuff that I did end up reading or what my plans are going forward. So I am putting a video up tomorrow. Well, she's coming into her own awakening about what she's been taught about this kingdom and what reality is. We made a charcuterie board. Okay, so this is really weird because I don't like doing this. I hate doing like an opening and a closing and the same like clip, same thing. But just a heads up, I did shoot like a 20-minute opening clip to this, right? And I decided not to lose the clip because for some reason I did not have my camera on the right setting. And so a huge, like not even a huge, there's only about like 30 seconds of that clip where it's not blurry. It was so out of focus and I felt like it was distracting, and for it to be an 18-minute long clip, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing it. There is another clip in this vlog where I am sitting at my table in front of my shelves, and it does go in and out of focus at some time, which is when I finally noticed that the settings on my camera weren't right. But that one wasn't too bad, but I decided to nix the intro clip because I was like, yikes, I just don't think it is good enough quality to put into this vlog. So now you get me in my pajamas and my bonnet opening this vlog for you, where the theme of this week is to read my my special edition books, which it just ends up being book box books, which is fine. You don't really get to see the deliberation process because that was part of an introduction clip where I kind of was trying to figure out where I wanted to go with this entire process. But I do, in that original intro clip, I do talk about wanting to start with the glittering edge, and what you're going to see is unfortunately a B-roll clip of me reading something completely different on the treadmill, and then a clip of me in the car talking about my initial thoughts on the glittering edge, right? So it's not too jarring, but I was like, I'm gonna have to film a intro clip after the fact explaining why it opens the way that it opens, right? So now that you have this clip, hopefully it'll open up a little better and it won't be as ridiculous as it was before. But I could not in my heart of hearts, y'all, give y'all that 18-minute clip and you really couldn't see not a daggone thing. So officially, I think most of this vlog has been shot in my bedroom, which is not how I usually do things, but you know, things happen. It is what it is. So enjoy, like, subscribe, comment, and I will see y'all again in the same outfit, same position at the end of the video.
Streetlights lit this town like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far. Hello.
I didn't get a chance to do a check-in yesterday, only because yesterday was just a busy day and I had a lot going on yesterday. So here, just a quick little update about what's going on. I did start some stuff that's not related to this Read It or Unhaul It. I think I talked about maybe I didn't talk about the fact that I finished that Cincinnati Lee book. I probably didn't talk about that, but I think I do need to talk about that book just a tad bit, even though it's not 100% related to this Read It, Unhaul It. But I did end up finishing that book and really did enjoy it. When I go walking, whenever I do like my walking for the day, I typically get a graphic novel to read, right? So that's why you probably saw some B-roll footage of me reading a graphic novel, because it's getting my walking done, and it's easier for me to read a graphic novel as opposed to attempting to read actual text on my Kindle. It just ends up working out better for me. Let's see, what else are we talking about? Glittering Edge. I'm over 200 pages into the Glittering Edge, and I'm actually like really enjoying it. I think it's a really good time. It definitely is reminiscent of the old school young adult paranormal romances that we used to read back in the day, and I really like kind of the touch of going back to that. It's not what I typically see in young adult anymore. I think a lot of young adult, once again, it's that age thing where it feels like a lot more difficult to recommend books, but so far so good. I think the writing in this one is good. I love the concept of it being two covens that have like bad history, and you know, both families end up stripped of magic. One family ends up cursed, and now because Penny, who is one of our three main characters, is Penny, Alfonso, and Corey, and Penny's mom accidentally falls in love with someone attached to Corey's family, and when that happens, you end up dying. And so her mom gets into this really weird accident, and now she possibly is going to die. So Alfonso kind of clues Penny into what's happening, and the three of them now are currently working together to break the curse. I do think that this one is going to have a little bit of a love triangle, which is not always my jam, because for me, I'm always rooting harder for one person over the other, right? And there's definitely one character that I am heavily rooting for over the other. I like that it is in multiple POVs, right? Because I think that it adds layers to the character development in this. I think it would be unfortunate, and I feel like it would feel more one-dimensional if we were only getting Penny's perspective of what this experience would be like, especially because as of right now, unless there's some random twist, Penny is not a part of any coven. Like, she's not a witch. And so being able to watch Alfonso and Corey kind of navigate the relationship with their families and try to be this newer generation that will essentially undo what their ancestors have done. I think that that is a great kind of parallel to the idea of breaking generational curses and cycles. And I'm not sure if that is the intention, like if that was what the author was intending in terms of symbolism, but I do think it is a great kind of like paralleling metaphor for something like that, where you have seen this generational curse impact your family for years, and now you are going to be the generation that's going to break it. I really like the undertone of that. Seeing the three of them interact together is really interesting. Corey and Alfonso are polar opposites, and Penny is kind of where they meet in the middle, and I like that. I do like that they are two very different characters. I think at first, because I'm doing a blended read of this one, at first it was kind of hard to distinguish between the two, but I do think after really getting to know them, understanding the lore behind the story, I'm better able to get a grasp on where these two are. So I did plan on listening to a little bit of The Glittering Edge today. However, I do have our Meet Me in the Middle book club tonight, and there was a book for it out of the three that I had not read, which is The Daggers of Ire by J.C. Cervantes. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that I'm not going to enjoy this book as much, which is definitely why I didn't get a copy of it. I do want a copy of, what is it? Goodness gracious. I can't believe I'm not remembering this book. I'll put it on the screen. But I did want a copy of that one, but I'm glad I didn't get a copy of this one because I'm about an hour and 3 minutes into this one, and I am not really vibing with it at all. But I do need to finish that one first because I do have that live show tonight. And then once I finish that, I will get back into reading The Glittering Magic. I'm not too sure what I want to start after this. I did see that my library has a copy of The Beast We Bury, the audiobook. I could do that, but I know I had talked about reading Air of Storms, and I forgot that I had an Libro FM audiobook copy of that. I have found that for me, fantasy works easier for me when I'm reading it in multiple formats, right? Physically, ebook, audiobook, when I'm blending all those together, it seems to work out better for me. So if you're wondering why I keep trying to find audiobook copies, it's not just to quickly move through these things. It's also because my brain works better when I'm doing blended reading. When it comes to fantasy, it helps me process the information better. I'm learning this about myself, so I know it doesn't always make sense, but it does in my head. All right, y'all, I will check in later. I'm so tired, y'all. This vlog is not going up when it's supposed to go up because I am slumpy. I'm tired. I'm consistently tired. This week, I almost thought at one point, like, I wondered if I was getting a little sick. And I hope that I'm not. But I feel like I've just been pushing my body a lot in the past week, and it's trying to recover, and I need to give it that time and space to recover. So honestly, to be fair, in this entire week, I literally have only read one thing for this Read It or Unhaul It vlog. I just have not felt like picking up anything. I haven't felt like picking up. The only thing that I've been reading, honestly, are graphic novels, and that's because I read those when I'm on the treadmill. Outside of that, I haven't had the energy to read much of anything. So let's talk a little bit about stuff that I did end up reading or what my plans are going forward. So I am putting a video up tomorrow. Well, fuck. I am putting a video up tomorrow. And it's a series that I've DNF'd. I'm putting that video up tomorrow because I did still want to post a video tomorrow, and I don't think I'm going to put this video up until Thursday, which inevitably is going to push back my YA Rewind and my Newberry video for the month. It just July said, girl, we're here to kick your ass, and we hope that you can recuperate in the last 5 months of the year. Literally, that's what July said to me, and I am taking it like a champ. I'm taking my ass whooping like a champ, but I'm tired. Okay, because like I may be taking my ass whooping like a champ, but I am fighting back, and your girl is exhausted. So let me get the book that fell. Thank goodness, because I'd be here forever just talking. I did end up finishing The Glittering Edge. This was good. I'm waffling between a 3.5 and a 4. I think that this was such a cute throwback to what we saw in the early 2000s with young adult paranormal, right? Paranormal romance. I think I'm pissed. Not gonna lie to you. I'm pissed because this does end in a cliffhanger. And I don't think I was expecting a cliffhanger. I kind of figured that we were gonna get a series out of this, but the fact that it's a cliffhanger really made my ass itch. Okay, because the way that ended, I needed more. I needed to know, and that means that I'm not going to get more until 2026, and that kind of makes me upset. I think that Alyssa has a very simplistic writing style that will appeal to a teen audience. This is a true teen book. I do think that I would probably recommend for this starting up to I would say 14, 15 and up. No, I would say 15, 16 and up. I would say 15, 16 and up. But I do think that this is a book for teens, right? I think that this is one of those teen books where there is no hesitation in me saying like, yeah, I get it, but this has too much of an adult appeal to it. No, this is definitely a teen book. I love the concept of these two groups, these two families having this history, and I think I mentioned this in a clip before, and this undertone of what it's like to break generational curses and cycles. I don't know if that was Alyssa's intentions, right? I could be just making this assumption and saying that and making this up, but if it's not, it's a damn good parallel, right? So if you are a parent, an educator, or a teen, and that is something that you want to see in terms of fictional representation, this is good for it. I think that it is so important for generations that have to deal with family curses or breaking the cycle to know that it is possible. And it was nice to see the three of them gear up and work together. Three very different personalities, three very different backgrounds, three very different experiences with their own familial issues, right? Whether it is a parent that has been scorned as the town harlot, or being biracial and what that's like being biracial in a predominantly white family, or being kind of like a social pariah. Like, we see these characteristics in all three of these characters, and I think Alyssa did. I'm glad that she did it in three perspectives. I may have said that already too, but I think it's solidified in how she gave each of the characters opportunities to really define who they were. We didn't get any confusion. There wasn't any confusion on who was who. I think that if you are listening to this on audio, you can't blaze through this. I think when there are books that are multiple POVs, if you start listening to a book at 2.5 and 3.0 speed, you're going to lose a transition between who is who, right? Especially when you have people who, like we have two guys in this book, that's easy. But if you take your time with it, it's very clear when we're looking at the difference between our two guys, between Alonzo and Cody. Like, I never Corey. I don't know why I call that boy Cody. His name is Corey. I didn't find any confusion between them as characters, and it seemed like that has been a criticism of this book, and I'm not sure why, because to me they have two very distinctive voices. They have two very distinctive issues that they're dealing with, especially with Cody being biracial. I keep calling that boy Cody. His name is Corey. I don't know why I do that. Who knows, y'all. But I do think that one of the interesting things about this is the time and care that she takes into developing each one of these characters. So that criticism, I don't really know. I am super excited though to see where this story is going to go and how the three of them are going to get over this next hurdle, because the way that this book ends, there is some issues, and what they assume this curse to be between these two families is not what they thought it was at all. It's not what they thought it was, and I think that Corey has some things definitely to work out within his family. Based off of that ending, Corey has some serious things to kind of navigate dealing with his family. But like I said, in between a 3.5, 4, I probably will round it up to a 4 on Goodreads, but I did enjoy it and I will be keeping that. Now, here's the thing. After reading that, it was a long fantasy book. It's well over 400 pages, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Oh, and I also love there's these text threads that we got as bonus content that I thought were really, really cute and really, really spoke to the personalities of each one of the characters. And that was a Fairyloot exclusive thing that they did, which I thought was really, really cute. Yeah. So it's 423, which is not bad. I mean, that's probably average length for a fantasy like that. But I hit a point where I was like, I don't know what I want to read, right? I had Era Storms as an option. I had, what else did I have? I think I had said that my copy of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil was an option. But to be honest with you, I think the whole idea of picking up another fantasy book right after that was not appealing to me in the way that I was feeling. And I still don't know where I'm at with that, right? I do want to listen to one more on audio and do a blended read. But if I'm being quite honest, I think because of how I'm feeling, I think I'm going to go with Under the Same Stars. I know that these are not, it's not technically a special edition, right? And I know you can still buy the copy like this. It's not necessarily an exclusive edition, but I don't know. I'm either going to go with that. I waffled about picking up The Beast We Bury. Like, that was an option in my head at one point. I don't know why. This one, this is a special edition because this was done by, who did this edition of this book? This is an Unplugged Book Box edition. Unplugged Book Box sent this to me, and I'm interested in maybe doing this one because this is I think that this is somewhat of a historical fiction and a play on the Pony Express. And I think that might be appealing to me as well, to kind of get me out of that fantasy kick for a while. I don't know if this is queer or not. It might be. The Nightland Express, I think it might be. And this is by J.M. Lee. So that's a possibility. We'll see. I know I do have the Illumicrate, which I didn't tell y'all this. I do have the Illumicrate version of the Raven Scholar, but I don't think I can do it, y'all. I don't think if I start this, I'm not gonna be able to get this done by the time I want this vlog to go up. And this is a chunky bad boy. This bad boy is over 600 pages. She's thick, and I don't want those problems today. So I don't know. Oh gosh. I don't know what I want to do. Forgery of Fate could be an option, but not in the mood. I have the Afterlight version of Love and Focus. Oh, speaking of focus. There we go. No, it's still not focusing. Okay, so I don't know where it stopped, but because that was hopefully that clip wasn't too out of focus, but I just got it situated so we're back in focus. I could do, like I was saying, the Afterlight version of Love and Focus by Lila Lee. I could do that. It's a contemporary romance. It's not as long. It's 300 pages, and it would get me out of that fantasy funk that I have going on. So I might do that. I don't know. If I do that one, I won't talk about it as much because it is an adult romance. But I'm going to find something, friends. I'm going to find something that I'm going to pick up. We're going to go somewhere. The goal for this video is to do at least 3 books, right? I think I can do 2 more within the next 4 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, I could do 2 in the next 4 days. So I just have to kind of figure out where my head is going to be. And I think that, I just gotta think about this. I gotta think about this. And I hate that I'm thinking so hard about it, but I am thinking hard about it, and I gotta figure out what I'm going to do. But it is after 12 o'clock on a Saturday, and I'm tired, so I'm not gonna think too hard about it right now. Oh, I did get one more. My July Illumicrate came. This is exactly why I was like, I need to start reading these books. This month was Night of the Blood Prince, and I know that Molly X Chang got some flack about the book that she released last year, which I didn't read, so I don't know much about it. But this is her young adult release for the year, which this color combination, I'm digging. End papers. Nice. It's nice. I do like the continuation of the red, white, and blue type of theme going on here. Under the dust jacket, this is what the naked hardcover looks like, which I think is pretty too. And they do have a reversible on the inside of this one if you want to do the original cover. So if you're curious, I do like the original cover though. This is what the original cover looks like, which I think I actually might like the original cover more than the newer cover. I don't know. They're both really, really nice. But I do like that they kind of stuck with the same color scheme as the original cover, so we'll see where that goes. But these start to, I mean, I only get it once a month, right? But I do see how it's so quick for these books to kind of like add up. Meaning that, like, add up in terms of like, oh, I haven't read this book or this book or this book. Like, it can add up fairly quickly. Oh, I forgot this was an option too. I know I said I'm trying to get it at Fantasy Funk, but Our Infinite Fates is a shorter one. This is one of my least favorite ones from Owlcrate. The end papers are nice, and the actual book itself, the naked hardcover, is nice, but I wasn't a fan of the new cover that they gave it. This is a shorter fantasy. It is, let's see, 350-ish, which is, yeah, 350-ish, which is much shorter. So I have options. I just have to figure out what my options are going to be and what I'm going to do. We'll see. All right, y'all. I will check in when I have an update.
Told me that you wanted to crash our car for the overpass, the one over on Briley Avenue. Can't believe the words I said. How are we gonna pay for it? Instead of how could I replace you? Dropped you off at the hospital.
Y'all, this vlog has been going on for days and days and days. I just filmed a video to go up because this vlog still hasn't gone up, and my dad flew in this week, so I had some stuff go on this week. I had some random stuff go on this week. I had to move our comic book club live show from Wednesday to Thursday. I haven't felt well. I was on the live show on Thursday, but I was like, I don't feel well. I still haven't felt well. I don't know what it is because I'm not feeling any type of like typical cold symptoms. Symptoms. I haven't been feeling any typical cold symptoms, but I am very much so like groggy. I do feel kind of some sinus pressure in here. So I don't know if it's allergies. I don't know if it's my cycle. I don't know what it is. But what I do know is that I am in a massive reading slump, and I've been trying to get through this vlog for forever, and I cannot for the life of me get through it. And it's not that it is the topic or the theme. It is literally, I have not read anything. And this changed, I think, for the last couple. I was like, well, I haven't been really reading, but I read this, and this. No. Now we're in a phase where your girl's not reading at all. I don't know what to do. I'm feeling the urge to read a little bit more now, but it's been pretty hit or miss. Let me, because they were on the bed. I do have updates because I've been reading a little, but not enough to get this vlog done when I want to get it done. Hold on. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I've been reading. Let's see. Did my bookmark fall out of this? It did. It surely did. Now I don't even know what page I'm on. Hold on. I think, yes, okay. So I'm pretty far into Love and Focus. I love this copy. I think it is the most gorgeous copy. This is under the I almost prefer this as a naked hardback than I do with the dust jacket. I have the dust jacket over it, and I've been reading it like this, and I prefer it without the dust jacket. This is such a beautiful design. Okay, let me tell you something. Illumicrate Afterlight did their big one with this one. This is absolutely pretty. So I can't even remember because it's been so long since I filmed a clip. I can't even remember if I've actually talked about this book, but this is a contemporary romance that follows two main characters, Celeste and Jem. They dated when they're both from South Korea. They dated when they were in college, and then Celeste randomly ended up leaving, and so Gemma was kind of like, okay, kind of fell off, no communication. And so she ends up dating this other guy after 7 years to get engaged, and then he decides, we're done. And so she's like, excuse me? So she's kind of reeling from that. She has to start all over. She has to move into her friend's place. And then she's working on this project at work, and there's a photographer that's hired for the project. And of course, it ends up being Celeste. And I think I like this for a number of reasons. I think it's funny, because I've read Lila Lee before with her youth related things, right? This is my first adult thing, and I'm just really enjoying the writing and the pacing and everything else. Once again, this is not one that I'm going to actively continuously talk about because of the fact that that is an adult title, and I don't highlight a lot of adult titles on here, but I do want y'all to know that I am enjoying it. I think the writing is good, and I'm almost finished with it. I think I have anywhere between 60 to 80 pages left of it, and I'll be done. So that is the second book that we will have read for this vlog that has been going on for God knows how many weeks. Another book that I started that has a bookmark on the wrong page, which is fine. Air Storms by Lauren Hamilton Murray. This one, slow start. I really am not clear about what exactly is going on right now. Not just yet. It is following a main character who's born into a family of, it appears to be fire wielders, and yet she's able to control the weather, make storms and everything like that. But most of that happened when she was an infant, and now we sped forward until she is a teenager, and she no longer seems to have the capability of being able to control the weather. Now, what happens beyond that, I'm not sure, because to be honest with you, at most, I'm probably like 20-30 pages into this one. That's it. But I wanted to break up because I read that paranormal fantasy-esque book before, why I can't remember the name. Don't come for my neck. I just don't remember the name of it, and that's okay. I will at some point figure it out. When I will figure it out, I don't know, but I will figure it out. But I think I just needed a break, as something in between, and I think Love and Focus is providing that break. So what I probably will do is focus on finishing Love and Focus, and then I will work on picking up Air Storms. That will be the next thing that I go for, like really focus in on. After Air Storms, to be quite honest with y'all, I don't know what direction I'm going to go in next, right? We're starting a new week. I'm giving myself another 7 days to see what I can finish. I'm hoping at the minimum, I at least get through Air Storms, right? Because I am still somewhat in the midst of a reading slump, and this vlog has taken me 3 weeks, which is absolutely insane. I haven't done any of my content planning for the month of August. I have not updated my spreadsheet or looked at what I read in July, which I know the number is significantly lower in July. It's just been a crazy month with projects going on at work that I did not have last year. And I think I've come to that realization that I am a part of several projects this year that I was not actively a part of last year. And that is a big thing. That is a big deal, and it is changing the way that my time is actively spent. So I don't know. I wish I had an answer on what I will start next, but I think we're just going to go with it, right? I do have a couple of other things that I think I could potentially read that clearly are on my shelf. This is a waffle of like, do I want to pick up another fantasy, or do I want to go with something different? Because I do feel like, as a matter of fact, we can check right now. I think the next Afterlight box should be to me like this week. And if it is to me this week, then I'm wondering, why can't I? Okay, let's see. Let's search track package. Track. Okay, so out for delivery. When is... Okay, so it's supposed to be to me on Tuesday. So if I do get it on Tuesday, that'll be another romance option for me to possibly read, which I'm not mad at. I don't know if I want to do another fantasy, but I kind of want to read V.E. Schwab's new book. Not even kind of, like, I desperately want to read V.E. Schwab's new book, so we'll do that. And then part of me also has been itching to read The Raven Scholar. Child, I don't know. Don't pay me no mind. We're going to get some reading done. We're going to figure it out. But I think if I end up reading tonight, I'm going to do a little bit of Love and Focus. I don't know, though, because like I said, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm not feeling 100%. I still don't know what's wrong with me. My dad is here. I think, too, having to, you know, when you have family or people visit, like, you end up having to socialize a lot. And I'm not used to that. This is why I only live with my child, to be honest with you. Not that we don't socialize, but I can turn it off. And the past 2 days we've been up, which is great, don't get me wrong. Because we talk and, you know, we FaceTime and we text and we talk on the phone, but being in person is always like a different experience. And so, like, we have been catching up on so much and talking about so many different things, and like we talk for hours and hours and hours, and it's great conversation. But I realize that mentally and physically I'm not used to that anymore, right? I'm very used to, by a certain time I'm shut down and I'm insular, and I can't do that right now, and I am low-key kind of paying for it. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I did want to do a check-in because I didn't want to leave y'all hanging at all. Yeah, that's it. I will check in with y'all when I have another update.
Let you go. So when everything is melting down, all the sirens and the lights and sound, when you're feeling like there's no way out, I'll hold you till you're finally found. Even when you're on the edge and the thoughts are blurry in your head, I know that you can't quite see how, but you're better than you feel right now. Maybe it was all the times I walked out without saying goodbye. Did it make you feel like you were not enough for me? Or did it have nothing to do with me? Just a hurricane inside of you spinning. I really wish that I could be the truck you need. Sometimes I just can't forget how I held back my heart again. I should have held you close and never let you go. So when everything is melting down, all the sirens and the lights and sounds, when you're feeling like there's no way out, I'll hold you till you're finally found. Even when you're on the edge and the thoughts are blurry in your head, I know that you can't quite see how, but you're better than you feel right now. Oh, and I can't get through, but I'll still be here when you're back to you. So when everything is melting down, all the sirens and the lights and sounds, when you're feeling like there's no way out, I'll hold you till you're finally found. Even when you're on the edge and the thoughts are blurry in your head, I know that you can't quite see how, but it's better than you feel right now.
Hey y'all, so I'm back with an update. I have been reading. It is Friday, and my dad leaves tomorrow, kind of, sort of, technically, so it's like 9 o'clock, and his flight takes off at 6, but they start boarding at 5:30. We have to be there 2 hours before, so essentially I have to leave my house at 3. And it's 9, and I'm kind of like, I may not sleep. So this is the perfect time for me to catch up on some reading. I had gotten a cold on top of a cold. I felt horrible yesterday. Today is the first day where I don't feel congested, or like really, really like nasty. I feel decent, not 100%, but like maybe a good 80-85. So let's start with our reading updates. So as you all know, I did read one book already. I read 2 books because I ended up finishing Love in Focus by Lila Lee. This is it's not June, maybe it's May's. Is it May's? I think no, this is June's. Pretty sure this is June's. I think this is June, Illumicrate, the romance, Afterlight edition. I think this is the June book. I get so confused because they often ship after the month is done. But I think that this is June's book. I'm pretty sure this is June's book. Anyway, enjoyed this. Gave it 3.5. I think I already talked about what this was about. Not going to dive into that because I don't really do the adult things on here. Next book I have. The dust jacket's over there. I'm not going to go get it. I am almost finished with Air Storms. Because I'm kind of doing a blended read with this one. And so last night I got, let's see, of course, because I didn't put a bookmark in at all. I'm somewhere close to, I think 338. Yeah. Yes, because that reveal happened, 338. And this book, without all of the extra stuff that comes in the special editions, because a lot of them do like exclusive bonus content, is about 450. So I have about 100 or so odd pages left of this one. I have very complicated feelings about this book, and I'm not sure that when I filmed my last clip I even really talked about what this book is about. So this is a young adult fantasy. This is Fairyloot YA. Very, very beautiful edition of this book. It is about a main character who is born into a family that can wield the power of fire, which is why her name is Blaze, and her brother's name is Flint. And I've seen other reviewers talk about this where the naming conventions, I think the author was attempting to make it easy for readers to identify what family or group they come from, like what their powers kind of entail. But in some aspects, they also still feel a little too on the nose, which it is a thing. Like it does come off like, okay, like I get it. It was a little too on point, but I understand why she did it. Now, our main character Blaze, she, instead of being able to wield any type of fire-related abilities, is really attached to water. When she was an infant, she created this storm that killed a lot of people, and so she doesn't have a great reputation amongst the rest of the kingdom, right? Because she took people's loved ones. Not that she could control it as a baby, but still, it's very complicated emotional things that are going on. And so in this kingdom, or this world, they have this competition where people compete for the throne, and you're marked as an heir. You're marked as a potential candidate for the throne, and they go through 3 trials. In the part that I'm in, we've been through 2, which the trials are kind of interesting, and I hope that people will get away from the idea that if there's a trial, that automatically means it's Hunger Games. It's not. It's not. I don't know when that became like those 2 things became synonymous, but there are 3 trials, and whoever completes or makes it through or wins, basically, essentially, is a contender for the throne, right? To assume that power. So here's the thing, right? This is very much so introduction to young adult fantasy. I think that this is good for a younger audience. I think you'd have to kind of figure out in terms of content, but I would say even 14 could read this one, right? Blaze is what you would expect if from me as an adult reading, what I would expect from a teenager. Naive, gullible, a little bit incapable of doing things on her own. There's a lot of guidance that takes place, and so for me as a reader, she doesn't really stand on her own in terms of becoming this confident character that I want her to be, which is super unfortunate because I'm so close to the end and I feel like we should have kind of had that shift. Now, there is this cool little twist that's kind of associated with this where I don't even want to spoil it, but there's a twist to this that I think we're going to get a bigger reveal. Here's where things are kind of complicated for me as a reader. So we meet the prince, Hal, and clearly there is this emotional connection that he has to Blaze. However, the prince has a half-brother that is the son of his father's mistress. Clearly there's tension between the two of them. Clearly, as with a lot of young adult books, this sets up a storyline for a love triangle, which I'm not going to even say that. Here's the thing. Slavery is a thing in this book, and I always say that if you are going to question or bring into social commentary elements of oppressed groups, you have to be very mindful about how you handle that content, right? The crown prince's half-brother is referred to as a slaver multiple times, right? And yet we permit our main character to have this budding attraction for him that she consistently attempts to fight and constantly reminds herself, like, there's a physical thing happening here, but ethically, morally, this could never happen because you stand for things that I don't necessarily agree with, right? But I think the way in which the author writes it is a little convoluted, and it can come off kind of like, what? Because when I first got to the part where, because there was a moment when I was just listening to this on audio and I wasn't following along in the book, and she said, da-da-da-da, slaver. And I said, huh? So I kept, like, I think I went back like 2 or 3 times to make sure I was understanding in the correct context that we are talking about a potential love interest that is a slaver. Now here, stay with me. I don't think that he is, right? I think that there's more to his storyline than what we know as readers, meaning that I think that he allows himself to be perceived a certain way for a certain reason, right? And I think he's more of a revolutionary than what he entails, and so he's playing a role. However, once again, I go back to saying, the dynamics make it very difficult, and the way that it's written, it's hard to... It's jarring. It's very, very jarring. And I can see what she's trying to do with this, but I can also see where it will make people extremely uncomfortable, right? It's not any situation in which we're justifying this behavior at all. It's not one of those. We're not talking about, what is it, Firebird, whatever that book is by Juliet Cross. It is not that type of situation. So if you think that's what I'm doing, it's not that type of situation at all. This is not a captive, slave thing. We don't have someone who's falling in love with a slaver. Now, I could be wrong and reach the end of this book and be like, what WTF, right? But I don't think he is. I think he allows himself to be named or branded as such for political reasons, which I still think is very murky. I still think that, once again, if this is not written correctly, it could be read wrong, right? There are definitely examples in other literature and history where people will pose as part of will pose in the role of oppressor in order to gain access to information that they need in order to help the oppressed. That is not something that is new, but the way that you write, that you have to be very careful about how you write something like that. And I think that this constant battle that our main character is having in terms of attraction to this character, it reads weird. Because she, in her internal monologue, is consistently calling him a slaver. And that is what brings her back to reality every single time, when she's saying, like, you know, he's a slaver. Like, this can't be a thing. And it's like, he's charming, but morally and ethically, I can't do this. And I think she's coming into her own awakening about what she's been taught about this kingdom and what reality is, because there are an oppressed group of individuals, the Magi, who had abilities, but they've been supposedly stripped of all of their powers, right? There's an instance in which maybe that information is not really accurate. I think that the idea is there, right? And I have to get to the end of the book to see what she does with it, because this is also the first book in what I think is going to be duology, at least a duology. And so we're laying the groundwork here, right? However, the way in which you handle these complicated topics, it can be hard. And if it's not written the right way, no matter what your intentions are, the impact won't be there. So that's why I say my feelings about this one are very, very complicated, because I don't know how it's going to all come together. But there are elements in this where we are dealing with oppressed groups, and if it's not handled appropriately, it may not be, it may not be what we need it to be. But people seem to love it. But people also love the book by Juliet Cross, and that book was problematic as I don't know what. So it's not to say people are not out here reading problematic books, but I want to see how this is going to unfold. But there was a specific scene that I got to last night where it made me feel like she's going to do more with his character than what we anticipate. And I wonder how this whole concept of this specific group that has been oppressed, that has been stripped of their magical capabilities, how that's going to change the perspective of our main character and how she views this entire system. I think it has potential to be a revolutionary type of novel, in which we have these characters coming into an awakening and pushing back against the system that is not fair and equitable. But once again, it's a very tight rope. It's a very thin line, and you have to be very mindful about how you write content like this. So we're going to try to push it through and finish this. Now, I have today and probably tomorrow and maybe a little bit of Sunday morning to work through the rest of what I want to do for this vlog. This vlog has taken 3 weeks. It has been an uphill battle because I did my July, what did I do? I did my stuff, the spreadsheet for July, so I could do my July wrap up, which is going to be late. Don't really care. It's fine. It goes up. It'll probably go up sometime next week. But I did all of that stuff right. And I looked at what I read, and it was predominantly picture books. I really didn't read a lot in July. I definitely hit a reading slump, and I'm getting that vibe of wanting to really, really read again now. So now I feel like I can really get through what I need to get through. I don't know if I'm going to get through a 4th book or not, right? But with me trying to stay up until 3 a.m., who knows what I'm gonna get through. So I did pack. My dad is downstairs. He's watching movies and stuff to keep himself up. Baby's in bed because she needs to sleep. But I did get myself popcorn and some watermelon rings and a Fresca, and I'm about to sprint with Alana for a little while, see what I can get done. But I did think that the next thing that I'm going to start once I finish this bad boy, is going to be the Beast We Bury, because I haven't done an Illumicrate book yet. I've done 2 Fairyloot, one. Did I just say I haven't done any Illuminate? I have. I've done 2 Fairyloot, 1 Illumicrate, and I haven't done any Owlcrate books yet. So I may do the Beast We Bury. This is another fantasy. I think this one has another kind of kingdom-ish issue going on. It has a romance. This one, Owlcrate's covers never touch Fairyloot's covers in terms of the jackets, right? However, I will say, and I'm not like the hugest fan of the artwork on the back, right? But this naked hardcover, this is pretty, okay? Like, the naked hardcover is pretty, and I do like the end papers. I think the end papers are really, really pretty. So we're gonna, I always take the dust jackets off of hardcovers anyway when I read them, but now I really am just running around with no dust jackets on anything. But I do think I'm going to start the Beast We Bury next. That'll be my next one. If I power through and I get a lot read in these next 6 hours, I may start V.E. Schwab's book. We'll see. Or I may do another Owlcrate book. We'll see what I decide to do. I think this is a good way for me to really get a vibe of how these bookmark companies, how they select their books, and whether, with some of these companies, should I just select books without being part of the subscription, right? I'm pretty much giving everyone a year, and then after a year, I think I will go back to the table and reevaluate. What I don't want to do is let them pile up on me and not read them, right? I think that kind of defeats the purpose. I would like to read them in the month that I acquire them. I think that would be best. And I'm not trying any other subscriptions. I think I waited, once again, like I always tell y'all, I waited to a point where financially this was something I could do for myself, right? Because I don't typically spend a lot on books in a month, and I got to a place where I was like, you know what? Now I can do this, because I've never really, I did Owlcrate a long time, but this was pre-baby. I did Owlcrate, and I think I even stopped before I got pregnant, so I haven't done this stuff in a very, very long time. So it's good to get a feel for whether it's worth it or not, whether it's money well spent. And I already got rid of one. So the Owlcrate book, and I can't even remember the name of the book, but the book by Mina Fierce, I got rid of that one. I think I talked about that in one specific vlog where I was like, I got 50% of the way into it, and it wasn't drawing me in, and so I actually ended up selling that book back, and got as much as I was going to get for it, right? Like, I'm also not one, like, if I get these books, like, I will always sell them at what I paid for it. I'm not going to be the one that's going to price gouge, because some people, like, some of the books that I see, especially the more popular ones, like, people literally start selling these books for like $100 a pop. I would never buy a book for that much, nor would I ever sell a book for that. I don't know. I just don't think, it's just weird behavior to me, but it's no different than, like, scalping concert tickets. So I'm going to go ahead. I have been reading other things, but I probably will talk about it later. And I will give y'all an update tonight at some point. So yeah, I'll check in later. Bye.
Hey, what the hell? Why you hanging on the roof all by yourself? I have an open invitation, but you're telling me go get lost. I don't wanna see your face. Yeah, what the hell? So why don't we stay out to the morning light? 'Cause two wrongs can make a right. We're just doing what we're feeling right now. So Chardonnay, we camp in the parking lot. Leave traces of plastic cups. We're
pretending that you like somebody else, like you got boys waiting in line to take you home, but
We made a charcuterie board. We made a charcuterie board. Is it like almost 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm closing out this vlog in my nightshirt and my bonnet? Yes, I am. Okay, so my current nightshirt it's fall, y'all. It's very southern, but also because I'm over summer. Okay, if you live in the South and you have to deal with summer, you know exactly what that feels like. And let me tell you something, it's not fun. I also realized that most of this vlog has been filmed in my bedroom, which doesn't typically happen, and I try to diversify where I shoot my updates, but because of things, hey, you know what, we adjust, we make room, we change things around. It is not the next day, it is the next day. I'm about to go to sleep because I can't do this. It is in fact the next day. However, my dad, not however, holy crap, what is going on? I'm like buffering here. It is the next day. My dad flew out this morning, and I am beyond exhausted, and so we're going to stop this vlog here, right? I think that when I was editing the footage, I had said like my goal was to read at least 3 books, and I did. I read 3 books, and I'm not mad at it. Okay, I was going to try to get through one more, which was supposed to be The Beast We Bury, but honey, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to push myself to read anything else for the sake of creating content, right? I think that that's a bit excessive, and I read 3 books off of my shelf in the midst of me being in a slump, and I'm fine with that. That is what I am okay with. What I did want to talk about is, hold up, I thought I had some stuff flipping over. Also, sorry if you hear the fan going, I don't know what to tell you, y'all. It is hot here, okay? It is hot, and I don't like to drop my air conditioner too low because electricity bill, and so the fan, it is the fan. I did end up finishing Air of Storms. Now I have the dust jacket on the book, and I'm not going to hold this book up the whole time because this book is definitely, it's chunky, it is thick, it is heavy. Okay, I think I'm gonna go in between a 3.5 and a 3 and a 3.5. I don't think it's quite a 4. I also want to go back and re-explain some things, especially in watching, like editing and watching my initial explanation of this book. I think when I said like the competition and they're competing from the throne, I should have better explained how this kingdom is structured, right? So you have a king, right? More like an emperor, I should say, and then you have kings and queens of the designated communities, like how their abilities align. Like you have the wind community, the earth, fire, water, all of the elements, right? This is very much so elemental magic, which why I did not connect those dots for y'all earlier, I don't know. I think I was so hung up on talking about the fact that Blaze is part of the fire wielding community that it just I think I was just stuck on the naming conventions there. But yes, so the way that it's structured is you have an emperor, then you have the rulers of these subgroups, and when they're going to the competition, they're competing against their own subgroup, right? And so Blaze is competing against I hate doing the spoiler thing. She's competing against other individuals that have the same abilities as her, okay? I'm not gonna say who or anything like that, but her competition is not going to be up against the individuals that wield air, right? There's an elimination process to it, but by the time you get to that third trial, you kind of see what's happening, and that's as far as I want to go into it. But I want to make sure that people understood like how this whole thing functions, because if you go into this based off of how I explained it earlier, it may be kind of confusing. But yes, so there's a competition. They're not competing for the emperor spot, but they're competing for the throne that is aligned with their specific elemental ability. I was right in my judgment in the statement that I made earlier, right? I still do think that the way that she wrote the content between, his name is Fox, or at least his nickname is Fox, between him and Blaze, I think that is still muddled, right? I still think that that's complicated, and though we know that what he is specifically deemed or named is not true, we still don't know much about him. So this is also one of those books, I feel like The Glittering Edge did a little bit better in giving some background information, whereas this one, you get some background information, but not so much, right? I think that in finishing this book, I had more questions than answers, which is fine, I think, for the first book in a fantasy series in which you're establishing characters, world building, you're building up to what usually is some type of twist, and then we are entering in the next book an adventure phase, where our characters are actively solving a problem, right? I think in this we are kind of in the same position as Blaze, where we don't necessarily understand this community that she's a part of. She doesn't either, and certain things are revealed that lead to us, as well as Blaze, having more questions. We get that climax, and then clearly there's going to be an adventure or quest like element that is going to come in the subsequent novels. Now, I know I said earlier that I thought this was going to be duology, but I'm hoping it's longer than that. I should have done a little bit more investigative work on this, but from how expansive or how in-depth I feel like this book got, I do feel as though we have room to go beyond a book 2. I do, because there's a lot of working pieces and parts to this book. I will say that one of my biggest criticisms of this book, outside of how I think that characterization was done, the pacing, right? There were sections of this book that were really fast-paced. I think the scenes in which you are engaging in the competition pieces, those are always going to be very interesting, fast-paced, but there are more discovery aspects of it, world building aspects that were not as fast-paced, which is fine. I don't think that world building has to be a fast-paced element of a book, especially when you're building something that could potentially be extremely intricate. However, I think that evenness is necessary, right? You don't want to get bogged down, and then all of a sudden, you spend the last 60 to 70 pages, which this did, being really, really, really fast-paced, right? It feels uneven in terms of the writing and the plot development. So the scene or the clip in which you see me reading this book is where things like really, really, really built up, right? We got a lot of reveals, a lot of answers that led to further questions, and questions that, to be quite honest with you, never truly get answered by the end of the book. There was a scene towards the end of this book that literally had me like, oh shoot. It surprised me. It shocked me. I was very surprised because I did not see that part coming. I do think that it ended almost in a way that was abrupt. We hop from one scene to the next without much clarity, and that to me felt very it felt jarring. That's the word I'm looking for. It felt very jarring, the way we hop from one of the most climactic scenes of the entire book to the resolution. I felt like we could have done a little bit more work there, but overall, I think when I was giving my initial thoughts about this one, I was waffling between a 2.5 and a 3, and I think since picking it up and finishing it out with that ending, I'm waffling between a 3, a 3.5. Very much so, first book in the series, not a bad book, solid book with some technical errors that definitely I think could possibly be improved going into the second book, which we probably will not see until 2026. So that is 2 fantasy books that I read where both books end in a way that is kind of like, dang, now I do have to wait until next year in order to be able to pick them up, which, you know, it is what it is. So I do think that this was a super productive vlog in the sense that I was able to read The Glittering Edge, Air Storms, and Love in Focus. Having gotten through all 3 of those books is great. Throwing books. I did start The Beast We Bury. I'm not going to fight to try to finish this or to make significant progress. I think that I will continue to work on this book and continue to read this book throughout the rest of this month, just so in the background I am continuing to read the books that are part of those books that are coming out of book boxes. I think I do want to skew a little bit more towards my Owlcrate books, and I do predominantly YA if you haven't noticed, to see how their picks differentiate and whose picks I like better, right? So far in reading Fairyloot, both of those books, I think I waffled with both of them. The Glittering Edge, I said I was stuck between a 3.5 and a 4. Air Storm, stuck between a 3 and a 3.5. So we'll see what happens when I start to delve a little bit more into Owlcrate, whose picks are stronger, right? I do say that I think that Fairyloot's design elements are stronger, but in terms of selections, we'll have to see from there how I feel. Technically, one of the books that was an Owlcrate selection this year, Fable for the End of the World, which I did not get the Owlcrate copy of it. I just got the regular traditional published copy of it. I've really liked. I gave that book 4 stars. That one by Ava Reed. I really did enjoy that one. So we'll see how everything pans out and how everything goes. But as always, let me know what you've been reading recently down in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notification. And if you're looking for more ways to follow this channel or support it in any way, all those links will be down in the description box below. And I will be back with another video soon. Bye!